Howdy, folks. Howdy. Happy Friday. Oh, my hair's trapped in my earphones thing. That's better. So much better. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Glad you could be here. What's going on? It's Friday. It's HAL, SPARKS, MEGA Worldwide. I'm live, as I always am. I need to come up with an opening for the show, like a little patter that I say at the very beginning that people can lock into, like regular real shows do. Just to, hello, hi. By the way, this is me looking at the chat. This is me looking at the clip. This is me looking at my software so I can see how my hair looks today. It's a little flat. I had it in a ponytail. So it's, yeah. Anyways, hi, how are you? So obviously the responses to yesterday's speech are in, and the faux outrage is just ablazing. And the king of faux outrage is, of course, the man with two buttocks right between his eyes, Tucker Carlson, who he's learned a lot in the last couple of years from Rusty Rockets, from Russell Brand, Rusty Trombone, with these crazy, cryptic... Maybe I should start doing the thing. Are you worried about this? You should be. Could this be dangerous? Might this be a time when danger is your middle name Danger? And would you even know how to find out? But this one, does this make you nervous? Well, I'd have to know what it is. So congratulations on clickbait. If you don't know how the show works, I look at these clips that they posted and I go through the whole thing. This one is long though, so I reserve the right to bail the fuck out if it's boring. Like, just do the first 5 minutes. I won't take a select piece of it so that I can skip around and pretend I didn't, whatever. You guys know the run. Anyway, so this is, fuck it. That's too long to start with anyways, because there's so much more, especially when Judge Jeanine is filling in on Jesse Waters, because I guess Jesse blew a gasket supporting Trump. Like, he's just, he must have like buried the needle, as Egon would say, doing it. So they had to bring in Jeanine to cover for him. And this is Jesse Waters prime time with Judge Jeanine. Judge Jeanine does Jesse just for us.
Welcome to Jesse Waters Prime Time. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Joe Biden,
I'm not a judge. Sorry.
Said he wanted to run for president for a lot of reasons. But the biggest one was...
Okay, I have never seen anyone look so afraid to read a teleprompter in my life. Has it been so long since she's done her show, and being on the 5 has just made, she's afraid she's lost the skill? I mean, this is straight up like Norma Desmond.
The soul of America.
The battle for the soul of this nation. Oh, that's even more true today. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation. We're in a battle for the soul of this nation.
Yes, we know. We saw this part.
The battle for the soul of this nation.
In the battle for the soul of the nation.
Forging the soul of a nation. I knew we were in the battle for the soul of the nation. Winning the battle for the soul of America.
He's planning on saving souls again tonight.
Boy,
In just 1 hour.
And what I'm going to do is tell you how awful it is before it's even happened.
He'll be delivering a rare primetime speech where his administration says he's going to be unifying America.
It's not a political speech. This is an opportunity, again, for the president to directly have a conversation with the American people. What we're going to hear from him is how to move the country forward. That's going to be the focus of the speech tonight. It's going to be optimistic. It's going to be hopeful.
But for months, his rhetoric leading up to the speech has been,
Oh my God! For months, it's
anything but
That's not what the senator do.
unifying.
Oh no!
Let me tell you about this ultra MAGA agenda. It's extreme, as most MAGA things are. This
and
MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history. I don't have to tell you about the...
Well, he's just saying the inverse of what Trump is saying, which is like, this is the best movement ever. Suck it, MLK. Screw you, Women's March. Buzz off suffrage. Edmund Pettus bridge my ass. This MAGA rules. Like,
the ultra-MAGA agenda attacking families and our freedoms. The MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy.
Right.
They refuse...
And no lies detected.
...to accept the will of the people. They embrace political violence. They don't believe in democracy.
And Joe's planning on continuing that line of rhetoric tonight. A few excerpts from his speech tonight have been released saying, quote, MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards.
Right.
Backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
Yeah, that's, I mean, if you take their word for it.
For a long time, we've reassured ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed. But it is not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us.
Which, of course, Jeanine knows is bullshit. Democracy is on autopilot. It's an app. And I don't know what all this clamoring is about.
Now, that doesn't sound too unifying to me.
And really, the each and every one of us part didn't sound too unifying. The each and every one of us have to stand up for democracy and protect it. That we might have a, I don't know, some people might even call it a unifying principle. Hey, 666 people in the chat room. Thanks so much. Feel free to give a 666 super chat in any of its various forms. Obviously, the easiest one being $6.66. And also, excuse me, 1 second, mid-sneeze. Don't forget to subscribe on Twitch. Twitch subscriptions. Subscribe today. Oh, yeah.
What happened to this guy?
I'm an American president.
Yeah, he said the same thing last night.
I represent all of you, whether you
he said that.
voted for me or against me.
Right, but you had to be a voter. You had to believe in voting. That's the point, too.
And I'm going to make sure that you're represented.
We shouldn't be surprised because for the last 2 years, Joe Biden has divided Americans at every turn. He did it during the pandemic.
Oh, did he?
He blamed...
Between the people who are willfully not getting vaccinated, who are clogging up hospitals?
The unvaccinated and forced mandates. And anyone who disagreed with him, a bunch of Neanderthals.
The last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime, everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Do you think voters should show ID? You're a Jim Crow racist.
What's going on now in about 30 states is literally un-American. It's about trying to prevent people from voting rather than allow them to vote. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
This is...
Yeah, that's not... that wasn't about voter ID, dummy. That was about literally seeing an entire district, especially of people of color in, say, places like Georgia, and having some state representative override the entire will of those voters and install whoever the fuck they want.
Isn't unifying. Joe's idea of a unified America is an America without those evil MAGA Republicans.
When you ask me about the MEGA agenda, especially as it relates to Congress...
It's pronounced maggot, by the way. The T is very small, but it's there.
As it relates to elected officials, it is one of the most extreme agendas that we have seen. They are threatening political violence, and they are attacking our democracy.
Right.
Expect to hear a lot of that tonight.
Expect to hear no pushback from me on the merits of that, just that how dare he. It's outrageous. Outrageous, I tell you.
Republicans and Donald Trump supporters are a threat to democracy.
Well, no. He makes a distinction between regular run-of-the-mill Republicans and specifically the maggots, the Donald Trump supporters, as a distinct class of people. That's where the whole, the big thing is right now, the MAGA world is trying to like use the rest of the Republican conservatives as human shields. Now, they made their bed and they have to lie in it with these idiots. But that's what's happening. They're basically like, they're talking about you, not just me, is the entire argument right now.
Joe's message is clear. They tried to destroy democracy in 2020, and if you're not careful and vote Democrat, they're going to do it again in the midterms. What are those extreme MAGA Republicans saying? One of them gave a pre-buttal to the president's speech just an hour ago.
A pre-butt.
Instead of trying to bring our country together to solve these challenges,
he's refusing to kiss Donald Trump's ass.
President Biden has chosen to divide.
Oh, yeah? Did he happen to send a bunch of assholes up to the Capitol to kick your ass and hang the vice president? I'm just asking for a friend.
Demean
who votes
and disparage his fellow Americans.
Well, the debate about whether or not you're an American if you don't believe in voting or voting as the choice for selecting leaders anymore is a valid one to have.
Why?
Because you're assholes?
Simply because they disagree with his policies.
No. See, there are a lot of people that simply disagree with his policies. It's the ones that are calling for violence against the FBI or election workers or setting up traps within the election systems in different states to try and guarantee Republicans can win. This has fuck all to do with baseline disagreements. As a matter of fact, that's the issue more than any other. That was the need for the speech, is that what the Republicans are engaging in right now, especially the maggots, is well beyond not being heard in their disagreement. There's every opportunity for them to participate in any of the bills that have gone forward. And in some areas, they've actually signed on and voted with it. And in other areas, they just refuse to participate at all for purely political reasons, even if a majority of their own constituents want the actual bill to go through.
When the president speaks tonight,
he's going to sound as tough and as rough as I can. He's going to be letting you guys know that he's going to open up a fresh can of whoop ass, or maybe even cook some up from scratch like I do right here now.
At Independence Hall, the first lines out of his mouth should be to apologize for slandering tens of millions of Americans.
Yeah. Tens of thousands. It's a much smaller crowd.
As fascists. What Joe Biden...
As fascists. As fascists. Actually, this is one of the slowest speeches he's ever given.
Biden doesn't understand is that the soul of America is in the tens of millions of hardworking people
who vote and live with what the elections, however they turn out.
Loving families, of law-abiding citizens.
Okay, yeah. So that's the point. See, we're not talking about those folks. If they're law-abiding, they're off the list. Yeah, the problem we have is the threatening to kill people part. That's against the law, fucko.
Whom he vilified.
Understand? Okay? He's saying nasty things. Nasty. He's being nasty. Feels nasty. It's dirty. This is dirty pool, dirty politics. This is dirty pocket pool politics.
For simply wanting a stronger, safer, and more prosperous country.
And more prosperous... Jesus Christ, let your hair down, buddy. More prosperous country. And I'm proud to be a American, where at least I know I pay a fee.
Now, that's a message we can all get behind.
Well, yeah, downwind from.
Despite what Joe Biden says, the vast majority of Americans want the same thing.
That's actually what he said. He's going to, in an hour, he might even say that.
We want a strong economy.
Okay, delivering. He's got you covered. Congratulations. Way to go, Joe. He's doing that for you. Enjoy yourself. What next?
Cheap gas.
Well, you came to the right place. Nothing's cheaper than this. It's just one of those cheap gas. You got it. Cheap gas. These are the two things: a strong economy and cheap gas. Okay. You know, those great American, how about the ability to go wherever you want, easily, safely, and cheaply, even if it's in an electric car or solid public transportation or on a fucking train that doesn't take forever and is very comfortable, or fucking flights that leave on time. There's a
reasonable cost of living.
A reasonable cost of living.
Safety for our families, and fairness and equal treatment, regardless of what political party you belong to.
Yeah, exactly. Just because you were the Republican president doesn't mean you get to abscond with national secrets when it's illegal. You get treated like everybody else. Congratulations, Judge Jeanine. What have we got for her, Johnny? You've won everything you asked for from the guy you're shitting on.
But that's a problem for Joe Biden.
It is?
Because he hasn't been able to deliver on any of that.
No, he hasn't been able to deliver on any of that.
So he's resorting to name-calling and smears in the hope that it will save Democrats in the midterms.
Actually, you guys saved us in the midterms with the whole Dodd thing. You showed your hand, you did it too quickly, you're a bunch of psychopaths, and you woke up the sleeping dragon. That's the women of the country are like, hang on a second. Talk about thinking democracy was on autopilot.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, that was the end of that. Okay, so that was before. This is the actual speech from Kevin McCarthy. This is the whole thing. Shall we check this? He went to Scranton. He was on Mornings with Maria. How do you solve a morning like Maria?
Citizens are forced to make agonizing choices.
Like getting up and standing behind me when they should be sitting down, considering they have crutches, while I yammer about this. By the way, the stock market going up during this speech doesn't really help the case, but we'll work on it.
Every single day, just to pay the bills. And winter is...
They just edit, they cut this down? Hang on a fucking second.
Citizens are forced to make agonizing choices every single day just to pay the bills.
People aren't hoeing. What are you talking about?
And winter is coming.
Well, the election's in the fall, but okay. Yes, time moves forward, dum-dum.
This is a national referendum. A referendum on inflation, illegal immigration, indoctrination,
and subjugation, and
crime.
And masturbation. No.
Crime at home and humiliation abroad.
Oh, humiliation abroad. I see. All right.
A choice between soaring inflation and skyrocketing energy costs.
Skyrocketing inflate. Inflation delight. I'm sorry. Skyrocketing. I think that actually sounds cool.
A choice between soaring inflation and skyrocketing energy costs.
Skyrocketing energy costs. Come on. Rocket energy costs for me and you. All right. Skyrocket energy costs.
Or affordable rents and gas and groceries for you and your family.
Groceries.
That was House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah, well, not for long.
For President Biden's speech, sending out his own warning ahead of the midterm elections. Joining me now is Arkansas Congressman Bruce Westerman. Good morning to you, Congressman.
And congratulations on the piece of art in the hotel you're in.
A member of the Natural Resources and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees.
They got you spread pretty thin. They don't trust you with national secrets? Is that what we're supposed to...
Just ask you this, because the Biden administration keeps touting the fact that oil prices and gas prices have come down a little bit from their record highs. But if you look at the futures, you can see natural gas is skyrocketing and people are bracing for higher heating costs this winter. The pain is far from over, and that was indicated by Jerome Powell last week as well. Your thoughts about the president's speech last night and also where we're headed?
Well, good morning, Jackie. Good to be with you. And, I think the president was just making a political move last night, but I think Americans have to look at life 2 years ago.
Weren't things so much better when we were all locked in our rooms watching a Duck Dynasty rerun, dreaming of a simpler, kindler time when each and every one of us could enjoy the pleasures of not going anywhere and not doing anything, while our great president, Donald John Trump, delayed reacting to COVID-19 so that the Chinese trade deal, which they ultimately only honored a third of, and still it's turned out to be a shit deal, even if they'd gone after it. We all could, I think we can all remember the wonder, the majesty, the glory of the middle of COVID lockdowns. Like, those were simpler times. I couldn't even talk to anyone then. I was just in the garage with a bag on my head, playing Guess the Power Tool with my friend Gary.
The pandemic was much worse, but the economy was much better. And what?
That's that. I mean, thank you, Dum Dum. Thanks for summing up the entirety of the Republican argument. That's it. That's all of it.
The pandemic was much worse, but the economy was much better. And what has changed?
All right, that's it. I mean, seriously, that is the argument. That's what Trump is always saying. That's what these guys are saying. Look at the gas prices. Look what I did look at the border during COVID. Look at gas prices during COVID. Pre-recovery, prices were in the shitter. Well, yeah, along with every fucking thing else. Good Lord. Do they know this is a shit argument? Does anybody push back against them? God forbid this woman who is hosting, Jackie, what's her name, says, yeah, but in all fairness, you couldn't go anywhere or do anything. We were having like runs on toilet paper. We didn't have PPE. People were they were chucking PPP loans at everybody, and the Trump administration wasn't even bothering to see if they deserved them or needed them.
Joe Biden and Democrat complete control of Congress. That's what's changed. And look at everything that's happened in between.
Yes, the deficit's been cut in half. Unemployment's been cut in half. We've had record job growth. We're 1 million jobs ahead of where we were in 2019. Infrastructure bill passed. We're out of Afghanistan. We're reshoring factories at the fastest clip in American fucking history. We have 9 new chip factories opening in the United States currently. Not like in 5 years or 3 years or a promise to blah, 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 but right now. And then there's like 7 more on the fucking way. Yeah, I'm looking exactly at what's changed since Biden got into office. We were spiraling downwards under Trump because he was like, why do we need a pandemic response team? Fuck that.
Kevin was right. We've got some tough times ahead. We've been focused.
Yeah, the price is going down. You're showing it go down.
A lot on energy, and we know energy affects all of the economy. What I'm really concerned about are food prices, which are even outpacing energy on inflation. We've had some tough times with agriculture, not just here in the U.S., but globally. And
that's obviously Biden's fault. Careful, dum-dum. You might point out the fact that our issues with inflation are not based on monetary policy, but on supply shock and high demand because America's economy is stronger than any other economy in the fucking world.
With winter coming, food prices are going to go higher. I think food's going to be in more of a shortage, and I think it is indeed going to be tough times ahead. We need real.
Brent crude is fucking. Oil's at $88 a barrel, and Brent crude is at $94, and that's after it went up $2. Son of a bitch. Like, basically, this is just rude against America. This is everything. Whenever, anything positive happened in the United States, and Trump wanted credit for it. And we were like, he didn't do that. That's just part of life or whatever. They were like, you're rooting against America. Meanwhile, when this shit is actually coming down because of actual policy changes, they're like, God damn it.
Real leadership in Washington, and we're just simply not getting that.
Well, you should probably leave then. If you're in Washington and you're on 3 different committees, I think obviously fish stinks from the head, buddy. I would jump off if I were you. Clearly, this is a failure of your leadership, your capability. Maybe it's your inability to understand the issues. Maybe you could just walk in there on Monday and go to, find Kevin McCarthy. He'll be drinking in the corner. Find him and say, you know what? I am mentally outmatched by almost anyone. So I think I want to give up my committee seats because I'm doing no one any good. I'm just too dumb for the task. Yeah.
From this administration or from Democrats.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, and they also...
Yeah, but they're stupid. They're literally stupid, willfully ignorant.
I would say, Congressman, that last night's speech was a distraction in some ways from the real issues, the economy, inflation, gas and heating prices, food prices, as you mentioned.
Well, let's see. I mean, it's good that she brings it up. Oh, sorry. I put in food prices U.S. and the first thing that came up was food prices U.S. Open, like how to buy food if you're going to the U.S. Open. Europe's extreme. Indiana farmers plead U.S. Senator pass immigration reform to stabilize farm costs lower. Oh my God. This is not exactly, I think, the argument this dipshit is expecting, but I think it's fairly hilarious. This is from an Indiana local. Indiana farmers plead to U.S. senators pass immigration reform to stabilize farm costs, lower food prices. One of the reasons why the price is high is because labor costs have gone up because we've had such draconian anti-immigration policies, and we don't have, like migrant worker visas and all that shit. A bill before the Senate would allow more U.S. farmers to hire immigrant workers year-round. There we go. Jose. Nice, Jose. What's happening, man? A dairy worker from Mexico helps feed a newborn calf at Homestead Dairy in Plymouth, Indiana. If you buy a gallon of milk at Indiana Walmart, it likely comes from a cow at Homestead Dairy. The farm, located 2 hours north of Indianapolis, is home to about 5,000 dairy cows. And downwind of it, boy, oh, Shevitz. It's a good living. Real estate is amazingly cheap. It's like Stockton, California. You drive through Stockton, your headlights will start watering. And every one of them needs to be milked 3 times a day. Hello. That requires dozens of employees, but finding folks to work on dairy farms has not been easy. We have posted newspapers from South Bend all the way to Rochester saying we need workers, and we didn't get any, said Jill Hohen. We'll just call her Hun, whose family runs the 4th generation dairy. Look at that, a family farm looking for migrant labor, trying to get senators to pass comprehensive immigration reform so that we can, really. This is Indiana, by the way. The reality is most Hoosiers don't want to work on dairy farms where long days involve very physical work, requires a passion for the industry. That's why 70% of the staff at Homestead Dairy come from foreign countries. Most of the milkers, veterinarians, mechanical engineers, and barn caretakers who keep the dairy running are from Mexico. That's right. Hun says, based on experience, the staff earn between $48,000 and $90,000 annually, which includes housing. These immigrants that are coming over here with visas and different things like this allow us to produce the milk. They are crucial to our business, and they become part of our family. Look at that. Well, guess what, dummy? You shouldn't have voted for Trump. She probably didn't. Jill Hoyen says 70% of the workers at Homestead Dairy are from foreign countries because she can't find enough skilled farm workers in Indiana. Go figure. I'm sure This is what this dude is talking about.
The staples that are the kitchen table conversation at the...
Yeah, our kitchen table conversations about grocery prices. Yes, it's tough to see. If you look at the futures, it's this kind of thing. Here you go. Here's how soon grocery prices could go down according to experts. July 29th, 2022. This is from Go Banking Rates. This is the thing. Article from, let's see. According to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, global food prices have increased by 65% since the COVID-19 pandemic and have risen by 12% this year because of Russia and Ukraine. Morgan Stanley reported. When will food prices level off? Although everyone seems to have an opinion, most experts are sticking to the short answer provided by the recent CNBC Select report. There's no straight answer on when prices will go down, but it's not too far off. The latest consumer price index has food prices increasing across the board, and year-over-year increases have been significant. The overall food index rose 1% in June after experiencing a 1.2% rise in May. In the past 12 months, food index has increased by 10%. The food at home and food away from home indices are up 12.2 and 7.7 respectively over the same time span per the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let's see. Inflation not necessarily transitory, peaked and may unwind. Yeah, that's the other thing they hate. Let's see. Experts. Okay, this is a bunch of different issues. There you go. I'm trying to find the newest news on this. Hold on. News. Hold on. Inflation is slowing down. Gas, rent, and recovery prices fall too. Yeah. Let's just grab the CNN. This sounds the most incendiary. This is the year-over-year 12-month percent change. Over 12 months, grocery prices have soared 13%. The largest annual increase since the year ending March 1979, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said Wednesday. The prices are nearly every grocery item have ballooned over the past year. The cost of eggs soared 38%, flour 22.7%, chicken 17.6%. And when was this article? Hold on one second. This is, August 10th. Good. All right. So fruits and vegetables, 9.3%, got more expensive. And look how bare the shelves are. That's the worst part. You even if you wanted it and you had the money, you can't get, Anybody seen a Republican with their whole, like, the stores are empty, where they take a shelf like this where one particular item has either been bought out or they ran out, and they take a picture of this little piece, and then they're like, look at the empty shelves. A number of factors have contributed to the rise in food costs. A deadly avian flu has meant fewer eggs in the United States. Those are all coming back. A severe drought in Brazil / coffee crops. And the war in Ukraine led to a spike in wheat prices in the spring. While commodity prices are falling, it will take time before those lower costs pass through to consumers. Plus, plenty of other costs for producers, such as fuel, labor, and packaging, have also been high. Demand for groceries grows. This is a demand-driven cost as well. Unlike discretionary items, consumers can't simply stop buying food when prices rise. They may, however, opt for less expensive options. Producers, grocers, and restaurant operators have noted that consumers are indeed trading down, swapping out higher-priced items for more affordable ones. Earlier this week, Tyson said demand for steak is falling while interest in chicken is rising. Wendy's traffic has been hit because some customers are deciding to pack lunches or eat breakfast at home. CEO Todd the great Penegor, said during a post-earnings analyst call Wednesday. Penegor added that about 82% of meals were eaten at home pre-pandemic, but that figure jumped 3 percentage points since then and has stayed there. So 85% of people eat at home before the pandemic, or 82%, now 85% do. 3% shift. That's a lot of food and a lot of change. Even that 3% is flattened out over a large economy is a huge number of people and a lot of food. The consumer has been a little more strapped, so there's a few more meals prepared at home. Inflation's been high, so net disposable income has been a little bit pinched. Again, little bit, slightly more. Like, look at the language. Jesus fucking Christ.
The average American family's home in this country. People are worried about what's to come, and they're worried about, their safety, their security, all these things.
Yeah, well, they certainly don't want to be shot for just being an election volunteer.
Yeah, Jackie, I think what Americans want is a secure and prosperous future.
Yeah, we're working on that.
And this administration and Democrats in Congress are simply not delivering that. We have a plan as Republicans. We have a plan to get the economy back on
Let's hear it.
track, to actually use our resources that we have here, not be reliant on foreign countries.
Like how? I mean, oil output in the United States is like 98%. What are you going to get, a 2% bump? What are you going to 100%? Hold on. Oil output, U.S. U.S. oil U.S. oil output rises 1.7% in June, highest since April 2020. Hey, look at that. Right back to where we were, and still going up. U.S. crude oil production rose in June by 1.7% to its highest since April 2020. According to a monthly report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration on Wednesday, oil production rose to about 11.8 million barrels per day in June, from about 11.6 million barrels per day the month prior. The report showed producers cut back drastically on output in 2020. That's when gas was so cheap. After pandemic lockdowns slashed demands, and companies have been gradually boosting production. Production in North Dakota rose 3.4%, about 1.1 million barrels per day in June, highest since March. New Mexico output rose 2% to 1.5 million per day in June, highest on record. Output in Texas fell 0.1% to just under 5 million barrels per day in June, lowest since February. The fuck is up with Texas? Hey, Texas, I thought everything was bigger in Texas. You're slacking. Why is, honest to fucking God, why is Texas oil output down? It's almost as if they are making a political choice to squeeze output to raise the cost of oil for political purposes. Go figure. Come on, get out of here. Monthly gross natural gas production in the U.S. lower 48 states rose to a record 109.3 billion cubic feet per day in June. That is a record. That is the most ever in June at any time fucking ever. Top gas producing states' monthly output rose 0.4% to a record 31.1 British cubic fucking dunks in Texas. I'm messing around. And fell 0.5% in Pennsylvania, about 20.6. Demand for U.S. crude and petroleum products rose in June to about 20.8 million barrels per day, the highest since August 2019. Demand for motor gasoline rose to 9.1 1 million barrels per day, the highest since August 2021. So, yeah, what's the plan? What the fuck is the plan? If there's a Republican plan to increase, what they mean more drilling, so we're at whatever, 107% capacity. We're double the hold on. What's the Saudi output? Saudi barrels per day. Okay. Saudi Arabia is setting their barrels per day output to 13 million barrels per day by 2027. Yeah, this is their May thing when Biden was talking to them. They're going to slowly tick up over time, but they're not there yet. Where are they currently? Saudi is on track to lift oil production capacity by more than 1 million barrels per day, 13 million barrels per day by the end of 2026, start of 2027. Prince also said upstream investments they have currently reached, adding that production could reach between no money to waste on anywhere else. He told the conference 13.2 to 13.4 million barrels per day is where their target. Let's see. What would be? Let's see. Venezuela barrels per day. See what their current thing is. Venezuela, oil production declines as shipments to Europe suspended. Iran began to ramp up lighter crude supplies to boost Venezuela's refineries and free domestic oil from blending and export. Caracas, Venezuela's oil output and exports have been receding following a series of operational setbacks, while recently renewed shipments to Europe have been reportedly halted. According to the latest Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, the OPEC report, Venezuela's July output stood at 661,000 barrels per day. 661,000. Lowest mark of the year. Below the previous month, 727. Not even 1 million barrels a day. We are at 11, what's ours? 11.8 million barrels a day. The United States is, all right. We used to be energy independent, guys.
Many of our adversaries, it's just amazing what this president does to American energy production, to American jobs. I've been back in my district in August talking to people, and I can tell you the people who are hurting are those that are low income and fixed income, where fuel prices and food prices have the greatest impact.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we help those folks specifically with directed subsidies.
And
you're not going to put this, you're not going to correct those for wage increases, are you? No? You're not going to put up the fact that, say, pork for this, in this example, would be a 2% rise, that milk would be a 10% rise after a drop off because of dairy farms cutting production. Same thing with butter. These are all labor costs.
It's really
same thing with coffee, not in the United States, by the way. What do they think the inflation is for coffee? Seriously, where's the Biden input or any president's input for the price of fucking coffee? If anything, when you put coffee up there, you recognize this is almost all about energy costs.
interesting
worldwide
because there's been a spending spree by the Democrats that started, the moment Joe Biden came
He turned on the money printer. He's printing the monies
into office and has continued. So we had the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, another $739 billion, and now the forgiveness of the student loans, the student loan bailout.
The student loan bailouts, disgusting.
Republican attorneys general are considering lawsuits against President Biden to block the bailout. And this is coming as the Washington Post.
Republicans are readying lawsuits to block Biden's student debt plan. A legal battle could carry stark financial consequences for millions of student borrowers who rejoiced last week after. Oh, knock yourself out, guys. This is what Republicans are going to run on. When I heard that they were going to forgive $10,000 of student loan debt for people making less than $125,000 a year, or homes making less than $250,000 a year, most of whom who have about $26,000 of long-term debt, and often who were veterans or nurses or people who had spent their time working for the American people, my first reaction was, how do we sue that shit out of oblivion?
There was a report actually warning that, quote, a legal battle could carry stark financial consequences for millions of student borrowers who
Yes, Republicans, good luck with that.
Rejoiced last week after the Democrats delivered on this longstanding promise to erase some of their debt. Having said that, Congressman, many people say the president overstepped his authority in that bailout and that this is something Congress should have decided.
Yeah, and they would have.
Yeah, even Nancy Pelosi said that. We sent a letter to her asking if she still feels the same way. But it's hard to keep up with how much money this administration spent, and they just keep announcing more and more programs.
Well, it's weird that they brought the deficit down before this program even existed.
And again, this student loan forgiveness, it hasn't happened yet. It's not really a forgiveness. It's just shifting the burden from one group of people to another group of people. And actually, a lot fewer people go to college than, don't go to, a lot fewer people.
Hold on. Biden administration student loan, I want to see how their graphic lays out. Debt bailout. Ew. It's like big banks. Like, oh, you're telling me that students are too big to fail? Is that what you're telling me? Well, they graduated, so they must have passed. But never mind. $20,000 if you went to college on Pell Grants. $10,000 if you didn't receive Pell Grants. Not quite, but okay. Forgiveness only applies to those earning less than $125,000. Student loan pause extended one final time through December. If you have undergraduate loans, you can cap repayment at 5% of your monthly income. That's not that weird at all. Payment-based, yeah, they just modified that part of it. Again, why is this crazy, especially post-COVID? Why is it not play, silly?
People go to college and go, and it's the people who didn't go, the hardworking, tax-paying Americans, are going to end up footing the bill for those who end up making more money over their lifetime.
Yeah, and a lot of people are angry about that.
Yeah, they're pissed. Just as terrible. $329.1 billion over 10 years. Voters foot the bill. Well, yeah, people over 18 who pay taxes, I guess. They also made that choice when they elected Joe Biden, and it's one of the things that he ran on was $10,000 worth of forgiveness. Voters offered to foot the bill, like they do with public education and all kinds and roads. Voters also foot the bill for infrastructure and getting us out of Afghanistan. 69% to 73% of debt forgiven accrues to households in the top 60% of income. Well, that's because there's a huge, once you get into income, there's a huge drop off. But okay, households with incomes over 74K almost 60% of the outstanding education, almost. So what, 58%? And the rest of them are below 74K? Working people. They do know that the average income in the United States is 68K. So the majority of these people are at or below it or just above it and are trying to, I mean, that's why they went to college in the first place, is so they could class themselves up in life. Would boost near-term inflation far more than the IRA will lower it. All right. How? Because those people, because they're not going to pay till December, will have more cash in pocket to buy goods and services, and therefore that will, because there's more cash available, will keep the prices of those things high.
They say it's just the whole concept behind it is unfair, and that this was an obvious push to essentially buy votes ahead of the midterms.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But having said that, I want to go back to the food prices because I think that's really important too.
Yeah, we really didn't hit that much. And
Congressman, the Department of Agriculture estimating food production costs, they're going to be up.
Production costs. Why would food production costs be up? Would it be because of a mix of demand and available goods that were not available through a choked supply chain being available once again?
18% in 2022. That's the highest jump that we've seen in history. We've seen.
Yeah, because they shut down the fucking factories during COVID, dummy.
Fertilizer costs going up as well.
Look out. The fertilizer cost has to do with Russia and Ukraine. That's our fault for getting potash from those fuckers. We can get some from Canada. We will be getting some from Michigan. Again, like if any of this, if anybody at Fox News actually meant it when they gave when they said they love America or America first or any of that stuff, here you go. News brink. There is a, I've shown this before. There's a potash facility that is being set up in Michigan. There's plenty of potash for all of our farming needs in Michigan. There's plenty of petroleum-based fertilizers that can be made from our shale oil and even the Canadian, the shitty oil that they have. Like we can use those things and our regular oil pumps to create petroleum-based fertilizers. We have enough of that for all of our farming needs. The difference is that we weren't set up to do it. Everybody was like, well, it's fucking cheap. It's like the same thing with Chinese factories. It's cheap coming from Russia, so why bother? Well, the reason you bother is because if you ever have a problem with these fuckers, you're stuck. You got all the potash I need. Thanks. potash. This is the Michigan Potash and Salt Company. They're setting up this facility, and they're going to be sucking up that potash, that good old-fashioned, which is apparently in fossilized wood. I don't know. Anyways, at least, let's see, located at least 7,000 feet underground, a massive mineral deposit left behind by ancient evaporated seas could be the key to a new billion-dollar industry in Michigan. Governor Gretchen Whitmer on Wednesday, and this is this earlier this year. I have to see what the date is on. Yeah, March 31st, 2022. This is this year. Signed into law a nearly $5 billion bipartisan spending deal that includes a new $50 million state subsidy for the Michigan Potash and Salt Company. The private firm is finalizing plans for a $1.1 billion development in Osceola County to drill, extract, and commercialize part of a potassium ore deposit that stretches an estimated 2.9 million acres beneath 8 mid-Michigan counties. This is something we could have done a long time ago. Nobody thought it was necessary, though. Or at least in 2014, they didn't go, you know what? These Russians are fuckers. And we get almost all of our fertilizer from that part of the world. If that stuff gets hinky, we're doing it right now with chips. I got news for you. One of the reasons China's not going to invade Taiwan, because they'd lose 1 million soldiers doing it. It'd be a fucking embarrassment, and it would be awful for them. And they would have no choice but to destroy Taiwan rather than have it. It would, but in this particular case, like the Biden administration and those in the know in Congress are helping to take some of the Taiwan semiconductor companies and move them to the United States and set up factories here to make chips. Because if anybody attacks the countries that make them, mainly like even the low-res ones in China or the nice ones in Taiwan, or even if they decide, if North Korea goes after South Korea at some point, we will not have access to the chips we need for the high-quality technology that we are expecting in the future. We got to do it here. Same thing is true of fertilizer and potash. If we should know this going forward. If there's some way, like if they're going, well, we use cobalt in a lot of things, but this particular area of Africa is really fucking dangerous, it might behoove us to start, coming up with environmentally friendly ways of getting it at home. Not the least, not the least of which because we need it, but also because if we develop, because we don't like pollution in this country, we actually do give a shit when it happens. We freak out and we want to change. If we would do that in the United States, that technology, that better technology, could be ported to the rest of the world that does it in a very dirty environment, environmentally dirty way. So there. So what I'm trying to say is these two are both talking out of their ass.
This is a president that, tried to focus a little bit on energy by releasing, the SPR, but he didn't go to oil producers and roll back some of the regulations and say, you're free to drill, you're free to do this. He also missed the boat.
Yeah, he did. They have to do environmental tests because we drink the water. We eat the fish. We farm on the land. One of these things like Keystone XL goes fucking sideways, and that's, that's a huge chunk of arable land you can't use to grow crops for a long fucking time. We want these kind of checks and balances.
When it comes to agriculture and the farmers that are hurting in this country.
Yeah, I'm sure this is the part where he says, well, the important thing is that we sign on to the immigration reform bill that's in front of us in Congress so that Indiana farmers can have access to the workers that they would need from Mexico.
And Jackie, this is the United States of America, the world's leader in agriculture production, the world's leader in innovation. We have the most advanced, the best farming practices in the world. And we're
except for that part where we get a bunch of our shit from Russia.
We're going to be hurting here at home, and it's not because farmers are getting rich, it's because input costs are getting so much higher.
Input costs. Input costs. What do you put in farming? Seeds in the ground? Water on the seeds, that's input. What do you put it in? Oh, fertilizer.
You mentioned how natural gas is projected to cost even more. That's the main ingredient in fertilizer. As natural gas costs go up, then fertilizer costs are going to go up, and fertilizer is the main.
By the way, can I just say for the record, none of us, I think some of you went, oh, fuck, that's a watering drone. That's a pesticide drone, or that's a seeding drone. That's a regular part of American farming, I'll have you know. That's kind of amazing. It just kind of is. I mean, there's those giant tillers that are just enormous machines. Yeah.
Ingredient.
Those are incredible. This is off the chain.
In agriculture, it's pretty simple, and it's easy to see how the policies of this administration are going to hurt in the pocketbook, and it's going to hurt at the dinner table.
Oh, yeah? How? Explain yourself. Yeah, there you go. Production costs to rise 18% in 2022. Because of fertilizer from Russia. Fucking assholes.
Thank you for making that connection. Very, very important for people to understand how
Yeah, he didn't make the connection. He made an assertion and refused to anchor it in anything, dum-dum.
everything is all intertwined. It's all related, and that's
yeah. It's all so it's like it's a mystery wrapped inside of an enigma on top of an avocado underneath a chicken tree.
Why prices are moving higher because of the policies that we've seen from this administration. Congressman Bruce Westerman.
Oh God, this administration. I guess you mean Russia. All right, so. By the way, you're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to the show. Now, I have, let's see. It should be no surprise that, guys, that one of the biggest reactions to the to Biden's speech was Captain Glass Dildo himself. Hey, grease it up and put it in there and just let it sit. And it's on autopilot or whatever. Stim your prostate, whatever keeps you healthy. It's none of my business. That said, by the way, why would anybody believe that the Trumps are a mess and have piles of shit everywhere? I don't know where they would ever get that idea. Also, a rosary, really? Yeah. Never been used, only dropped once. Okay, I think they'll be.
This is Senator Tim Scott asking you to send reinforcements to Washington.
There's never been more at stake. Nevada.
Wow, folks.
Oh, wow. Wow, folks. I'm fucked up. Wow. Look at that. One word. No, well, 2 words, and he's already looking at the notes. Wow, folks. Wow, folks.
Wow, folks. Well, you saw a doozy of a speech from Crazy Joe. And just so we understand,
we're going with Crazy Joe now. Sleepy Joe is gone. I mean, it doesn't really work anymore. I guess we're retiring Sleepy Joe for Crazy Joe. I don't know. Crazy Joe and Dark Brandon kind of go together. I mean, we're getting perilously close to Michael Keaton going, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Just look at the imagery. Guys, look at it. He's sitting there in front of this red lighting. Everybody knows that red is the side of evil, CPAC, but... Okay, it wasn't just divisive last... It was just, what do my notes say? Divisive.
I love when something is so much of an emergency you can't speak extemporaneously on it. Think of it this way. Someone has declared war on you and your way of thinking, and you have 3 minutes to express to people, and the camera's going to go live, and then it's going to shut off on its own. Do you need notes? I mean, if they've seriously done it. Not if they've kind of done it, or they called you, like, somebody said it something on the level of, like, hyperbolically, my parents are going to kill me. And you're like, fuck, your parents are going to murder you? No. I mean, they're just, if I'm late, they get crazy. Oh, so your parents are crazy? No, I mean, if I'm late, they just kind of, I might get grounded. Well, why didn't you say that? I thought your parents were going to murder you. You know what I mean? If you had a friend that dumb, obviously this is an issue. But in the case of, if they really were, my parents are going to kill me. Can I stay at your house? What? Literally? Yeah, they're trying to murder me. I have to call the police, but if they find out I'm missing, they'll murder me. Oh, sure. Can you explain it to me? Absolutely. Right after I call 911, I'll give you 3 minutes and the whole story. You wouldn't need fucking notes.
Last night. Look at the imagery. I think Dave...
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Dark Brandon rises. And by the way, that's not the imagery. That's one of the photos taken. That's the one you choose. Look at the imagery you're choosing. There's a lot of shots. There was a shot of him kissing his wife twice. You got that one? How about the one where they're walking out amongst the Marines holding hands? That's also imagery. You chose this one, fucknut.
Dave Portnoy perhaps said it best when he said, "Every time I think the Biden and crew can't be any dumber, they outdo themselves." Seriously.
Seriously, he did say that. I don't know what he means, but I'm just mad we didn't think of this.
Who gives a speech warning people about how dangerous Republicans are to democracy while having a background that looks like the Soviet Union and Hitler had a baby?
It's a birth analysis. It's like an old 80s on acid or on steroids reference.
He's 100% right, guys.
It's totally, guys. He's right. I didn't think these things up myself. Joe Biden just said that MAGA Americans who attacked the Capitol and took a shit in the rotunda and are being sentenced to upwards of 10 years for violently attacking police officers who've been denying elections and who've been trying to stop people from getting the elected representative that they chose by running interference in our elections, who've been stealing code from election machines, and who have been having monthly, if not weekly, threat contests towards federal officials and election volunteers are bad people.
Joe Biden promised to unify our country.
And you had to write that down, did you? I'm beginning to think like he got his public speaking, maybe he's had the same teacher as Greg Gutfeld.
I'm supposed to, excuse me, sarcasm. He said he was going to unify the place, and all of a sudden he's trying to unify everybody with MAGA as a common enemy. He's trying to unify everyone that believes in democracy, maybe. I mean, guys!
But he's done nothing of the sort.
Actually he has. He's gained 7 points with independents in the last month and a half.
All he wants to do is vilify.
All he wants to do is vilify and make romance. All right.
And last night, he vilified 74 million.
No, he made a distinction between Republicans and MAGA Republicans. Very, very distinct difference, actually. So probably closer to about 8 million. I mean, there's only 4 million people on Truth Social, so I think it's a much smaller number. About 4 million people, if those people are even real accounts. That's the other thing.
Million Americans who voted for Donald Trump.
No. It wasn't just enough to vote for Donald Trump. It was because a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. He lost, and then they just moved on, and now they're living their lives, and they don't think the election was stolen. They thought he lost. That's that. He's talking specifically to the people who not only thought he lost, or knew he lost, but wanted to pretend he didn't, and are attacking people around that.
I thought the essence of democracy was you vote for the best candidate.
Yeah, we did, and he won.
If you think that the best candidate was Joe Biden, all you have to do is look at the results and say, you know what, maybe the other side has a point.
Huh? What does this have to do with your point? And I am looking at the results, fucko. The deficit that Trump had, Biden cut it in half. He's using some of the savings to alleviate through his discretionary abilities $10,000 worth of college debt for people because he already saved that money by not spending it on frivolous bullshit.
74 million Americans voted for Donald Trump.
And only 4 million of them still think he could actually win.
And we see one of the most divisive and disgusting speeches we've ever seen.
Well, I mean, that didn't involve, I suppose, saying, walk down to the Capitol, and I'm going to walk down there with you, and if they don't do what we need, you're going to have to be strong, or you're not going to have a country left. I would argue that the one thing this speech didn't lead to was an attack on our nation's capital. So your dad still has the record, fear not.
And they do it, worst of all, in front of Independence Hall, lit up like something out of what you'd see from a speech of a fascist dictator. I mean,
well, it was red, white, and blue. It was just red in the middle.
I literally can't think of a worse.
I know. We know you have limited cultural references.
Way to do it.
Sure you could. I could think of ways to do it. This is the same challenge. You're like, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Of course I can. I just wouldn't. It's a waste of time. You could totally do it. You could have had flags hanging. You could have humped a flag on your way out. You could have had 90 flags across the back of it. You could have forced soldiers to stand in rows in front of you and in front of the people, staring at fucking, any of that shit.
Most people, even Democrats, probably have friends or family, an uncle, a brother, a sister who have conservative views.
Right. And they're not worried about that person, as long as that person isn't attacking members of the family or threatening FBI agents or plotting to attack the Capitol.
Some who are probably America First or MAGA and
MAGA. MAGA.
Does he have a hard palate anymore?
In some of those basic principles. Last night, those people were labeled a threat to democracy.
You had to read that? Seriously. This is the point of the whole fucking video. You had to go,
last night, those people were labeled a threat to democracy. This is the end of the world. Sorry, this is the end of the world. We are in total danger. And
20 minutes of calling your political enemies Nazis and fascists. That's what we got from the guy who's going to unify.
Okay, little bunny, fuck you. He didn't call them Nazis and fascists. And he even said they were semi-fascist before. Yeah, I think the reason he calls them semi-fascist is because fascists dress better. I think that's the one. Oh my gosh, Templeton. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing DC soon for Sexy Lib. That's amazing, Templeton. I agree. Also, by the way, before DC, I'm going to try and set up like an afternoon lunch for the Patreons and other stream viewers in DC, if I can. I'm working on it right now at a place where, it's not prohibitively expensive or hard to get to or has the seating for it. I don't know a lot about the town. Chicago's way easier to do something like that because I can help. The radio station can help me. But DC, I'm working on it. Sorry, DC, I am working on it.
Okay? With the back.
What the fuck are you reading for? This video is God damn it. This is 3 minutes and 44 fucking seconds. Talk! Run it through your fucking head and talk. I don't even give a shit if you need like 6 words up that I have to say threat to democracy and MAGA and America First, and I have to remember to say those words. You can't go 3 fucking minutes with this shit? Good Lord. Yes, thank you again, Templeton. That's so fucking amazing. Bless you. I look forward to seeing you too.
Backdrop.
Can you do 3 fucking minutes without going as filler? Seriously. Either shave or learn or get some, they have this stuff for cats that get hairballs. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's been tested on adult humans, but maybe you could sign up for a trial, a random trial.
That would be like literally stereotypical out of, let's call it the Nazi fascist dictator backdrop stereotype, right?
Yeah, it's a big name, but I'm sorry, run that by me again. What's the stereotype?
20 minutes of calling your political enemies stereotypical out of, let's call it the Nazi fascist dictator backdrop stereotype, right?
Yeah, the Nazi fascist dictator backdrop stereotype. You got that right. I mean, it's something we all know. It's right at the top of our fucking head. Now I'm starting to understand why I wrote it down. Upper palate Bondo. His neck looks very small. Yeah, and he's striating a lot too.
It's like I can't even talk for 3 minutes and 44 seconds without.
This is against so many citizens. Like,
this is against so many citizens.
The Nazi fascist
background,
dictator
sure.
backdrop stereotype, right?
Drop up, yeah.
This is against so many citizens.
It is against so many citizens. You know what? You're only 2 minutes in. I would go back and do it again. You're looking down too much. You're reading too much. The joint pinching thing to remind yourself about certain words is not working. I mean, it's only a 3-minute video that you got to crank out for some blow cash. Just go back to the top, man. What else do you have to do today? That's what I want to know. What drugs is he on? I have no material knowledge of the drug consumption, but I'm guessing it's a drug that eventually fucks with your septum and your hard palate over time and can make it, porous.
Like, it's bordering on violent rhetoric.
Bordering on violent rhetoric.
Imagine for 1 second.
If, I don't know, if like a former president said that the FBI had laid siege to and was occupying his home, knowing that his supporters had already attacked an FBI office in another city entirely. The fucking FBI was attacked in Cincinnati, you dipshit, because of shit your dad said. Borderline. Yeah, it is borderline, but it's on the border that says no violence.
Imagine Donald Trump did that speech with that background.
Well, he would have had to win the election and he lost, so it's hard. It's very hard. Also, it would have required him to draft a speech. I mean, we all saw him, shit his pants during the one primetime address he had to make. And the other one where his dentures started slipping. I'm imagining all of them.
And labeled Antifa, labeled BLM, who actually did violence, right?
I'll do it, but imagine my dad doing it. Your dad did do it, fucko.
They talk about, and we should condemn all violence against police officers, but he took one day of January 6th and said, we will not stand for that. What? They stood for 2 years of BLM.
Yeah, BLM is not the political violence against police officers. And Biden won the election. He ran on the idea of that no political violence is not justified. He even said it again last night, shithead.
Antifa violence.
Antifa. My Antifa coming over here. Antifa, could you all bring us some lemonade? We're all going to sit on the veranda. Thank you, Antifa.
But if this was Donald Trump's speech against the left, against 75 million people, 80 million Democrat voters.
What the fuck do you think January 6th was, asshat? And then he sent his people to go do it. And also, one of the reasons why Democrats can be a little looser with their language around violent rhetoric is because we know we're speaking facetiously. We know we're speaking in the same thing like my parents are going to kill me. They're not actually going to kill you. The problem that Trump has is a bunch of his followers are gun-toting psychopaths who are waiting for permission to kill their fellow Americans. And the rare ones on the left are off the fucking rails. They're not, it's not a codified ideology. It is a regular practice amongst Republicans to talk about Second Amendment solutions to their political problems.
The media would go nuts.
The media would go nuts.
Rather than doing their typical, which is running cover for Joe Biden, his idiocy, his vicious vitriol.
This is going very well, though. Vicious vitriol. The Vicious Vitriol. That was the name of my punk band in high school.
They're running cover for this insanity in what's probably the most divisive speech in American history.
Getting a little spit gathering around the sides of the mouth.
If it was Trump, ask yourself what they'd be doing.
Well, they'd be reacting. He wouldn't have said it. He would not have said democracy is important and it's worth defending. He would have left out a lot of it. It would have been a very different speech.
And that's why we need to push back against this nonsense. It's why we can't stay silent. It's why
I have to sit here in my dad's house in one of the guest offices that I use for stuff when I'm up here in New Jersey some of the time. So I can film Rumble videos. It's why you can't be silent, because if you are, he won't give me enough blow cash.
We need to voice our opinions peacefully and call out this crap, because we don't have
Can't let it happen, folks.
a media in this country anymore that does anything other than run the Democrat talking points, and we don't have Democrats who are truly looking to unify our country. We have them who are...
Oh, so here's an important distinction between what Biden said last night and what Junior is saying, right? Junior is saying right here, which is Biden was saying not all Republicans, and basically Junior here is saying all Democrats. Currently, this is the entirety of the Democratic Party. They're calling for violence.
Are looking to vilify and demonize...
Oh, happy birthday, Deck Girl. Thanks so much for the super chat, and happy birthday. A coffee to you as well. I have no beverage today, sadly, but I will have something after the show.
Half of the voting populace.
Well, 1/16 of half.
And that is not right, folks. What's going on in this country...
Can't have it happen.
Right now should scare all of us.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I will say that it's interesting that he said that, and then Tucker Carlson's clip was, does this make you nervous? This is definitely part of their story. Now, one thing that does make me nervous is when Ben Shapiro has that look on his face, and he's wearing enough pancake makeup to make him look like a real boy. I don't know if he was auditioning for Pinocchio today, or the caterpillars went for a walk and he fell asleep and they walked through a powder puff on their way back. It's very disturbing. But this is Trump is being indicted? Double question mark. This is Ben Shapiro's. We haven't really seen any of his takes on the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure, and I'm curious because he's semi-famous right now amongst the kind of outer rims of Republicans because he told everybody they got to start distancing themselves from Trump. We'll see if he sticks to that because, he does have a very omen-y kind of energy here. Yeah, that's your nephew's idol. That's adorable.
And good.
Hold on. Here we go.
At the same exact time that this is happening, of course.
Of course, I'm going to start in the middle of this because, this is where all the show is programmed by, Adderall Central. So, obviously, I cut this clip and I put it on the thing, but it's important that you don't even know the context of what I'm talking about. Just jump right into the middle of this thing because why would you even need to know this?
You have the FBI and the DOJ investigating President Trump.
No, you don't. No. You don't. You must not. I love how he shakes his head. He does the same thing Mark Levin does, which is say something and always shake your head no.
And after 4 long years of our intelligence services and our DOJ investigating the actual president of the United States.
The former president.
On the false basis that he must have been colluding with the Russians to twist.
Not a false basis.
The 2016 election.
That's a lie. Ben Shapiro's lying. The Mueller report did not exonerate Trump in any way, shape, or form. Barr kept him from being indicted. He ran the Justice Department in a way where a sitting president cannot be indicted, and they didn't let him look. He did not let the Mueller team look at Trump's finances, which would be primary reasoning as to why he would engage in this kind of collusion in the first place. It's not because he's, he believes that, nuclear secrets need to be spread out through the world so that, mutual assured destruction will protect us all. It's not because of that. It's because one day he wants a Trump Tower Moscow, and he wasn't expecting to win, so he was happy to trade any information he got at any given point.
A lot of people are, I think, correctly, very, very suspicious of the FBI being weaponized on behalf of the current administration.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Look, that's like saying a lot of people I know who have fallen for 3-card Monte on the subway and lost a good deal of money are, of course, afraid of decks of cards and do not trust decks of cards sitting on the rack. Anytime they see a deck of cards, they're obviously clearly nervous about the idea that, someone could be, even if they hear someone shuffling a deck of cards, they feel like I'm going to get cheated again. Not because the magician to their right did anything bad, but because they're a fucking gullible asshole who lost their rent playing 3-card monte on a fucking subway car.
To go against the guy that they are now attempting to, number one, elevate in the headlines prior to the election. And
I'm sorry. You do realize Trump could have avoided, quote, being elevated in the headlines simply by returning this shit. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if... See if this... Yeah. I mean, this might work. Hold on. Now whoops, hold on. Jesus Christ. Is this better? Too much? Maybe these are better. Hold on. Nope, that's pretty bad. Hold on one second. I like these better. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Anyway, what you were saying? Anyways, yeah. That, I mean, like, obviously, a lot of these people are very nervous, very upset, very nervous, very upset, upset and nervous and upset and nervous, concerned, obviously, because they feel like they cannot trust the FBI because they backed a guy who would violate federal law. And, that completely makes sense. Like, how do you not know that that's not just how things, of course, that's how it's going to, if you're going to do that, then why would I want to join a club that would have someone like me as a member?
And number two,
Number two. 1, 2. Gotcha.
To either make the nominee or to indict. Right? Those are the various choices they are putting in front of the American people.
Yes, the American people must make two choices. One is they have to think about Donald Trump when they would not think about Donald Trump. They wouldn't think about Donald Trump. There's nothing to think about with Donald Trump. And the reason the FBI is going after him is because they want you to think Donald Trump. They want you to think Donald Trump. They don't want you to focus on the fact that he was stealing secrets and it is their duty to get them back. That's what this is about. This is about embarrassing him by quietly going to his property and not alerting the media that they were there, and and the president himself putting out a big fucking statement that said that, that they'd laid siege to and were occupying Mar-a-Lago. Obviously, this was all part of the Democrats' cunning plan.
A lot of people are wondering
are those caterpillars on my face?
Are you talking about democracy again when it seems as though you are perfectly willing to avoid any democratic accountability on any score?
Yeah, any democratic accountability, like, I don't know, the fact that Biden won by trouncing Trump and the FBI director that Trump appointed agrees with him that a crime is being committed. Fucking democracy.
Which raises the question of what happens next with regard to the FBI and DOJ and Donald Trump.
Right.
So it seems pretty obvious at this
point that the land and the king are one. Republicans must understand that Trump is the party is the party of Trump, and we can never separate ourselves from him because this is what the Democrats would want. They want us to separate ourselves from Trump, and we cannot, we must not. We are fused with him. We are conjoined at the asshole. We are a human centipede of conservative values.
By apparently all legal analysis, that the DOJ is very likely to try and push an indictment of Donald Trump at this point.
What was Exhibit A your first clue?
According to Bloomberg, they're going to wait until after midterm elections to do this.
In theory.
Which, of course, means that this is going to hover over the midterm elections.
Hovering. That's the worst. It's like a legal drone strike, illegally done on legal people. The Biden is got a drone hovering around Mar-a-Lago. Nah, I'm kidding. That's a Chinese agent.
Which may be the point here. According to
probably. Yep.
Bloomberg, federal prosecutors are likely to wait until after the November election to announce any charges against Trump if they determine he broke laws, according to people familiar. The unprecedented prospect of bringing charges against him.
This is my favorite show in the whole world, by the way, is Ben Shapiro reads from his laptop. It's a great show. It's we all wish that maybe one day Don Jr. would learn a little bit of a lesson from Ben Shapiro and read from his laptop instead of just looking down at his desk. Or maybe instead of Greg Kelly going, I cannot look at the camera in front of me, right? Everybody take a quill out of Ben Shapiro's quiver. Sure. And just read from your laptop as quickly and tightly as possible.
The former U.S. president is creating intense scrutiny of the Justice Department in the aftermath of his search of his home at Mar-a-Lago. A separate DOJ probe is focused on his effort to overturn the 2020 election, which he lost.
Which word makes your head go back? That's what I want to know. When you're reading a word, do you feel like you're being punched by conjunctions? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Punching Ben in the face as he reads them. Psh, ow. I hate and. Fuck you, the. Quit it, of. Seriously. He reads like one of those birds that dips into that red liquid at high speed.
To President Biden under long-standing department policy.
And the little finger scrolling is nice, too. And a long-standing policy, sold American.
Prosecutors are barred from taking investigative steps or filing charges for the purpose of affecting an election or helping a candidate or party, traditionally 60 days before an election.
Right. Huh. Might point to why people in the FBI weren't supposed to talk about the Hunter Biden bullshit 60 days before an election either. See, this situation is where it protects Trump, but when it protects Biden, they're against it. Fuck you.
This year, that would be September 10th, which makes it unlikely anything would be announced until after November 8th. Now, of course, the department has ignored that policy in recent years. Most notably, when FBI Director James Comey revealed the FBI.
Right, exactly. When it benefited Trump.
I was reopening a probe into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server just days.
Which turned out to be bullshit.
Before the 2016 presidential election.
Right.
And in 2020, former AG William Barr announced in the weeks before the presidential election, department officials could make public announcements and take overt investigative steps with regard to voter fraud cases. This time around, the impact of any criminal...
There just weren't any.
...case against Trump would likely be significant.
They could also, if they wanted to, try to swim to the moon. But he told them to wear comfy shoes first because they might land hard and always leave from the ground.
He isn't on the ballot in November, but of course he has endorsed a bunch of candidates. And of course, Democrats hope that he is top of mind when people go into the voting booth.
Why would they want to do that? Why would they want Trump to be top of mind if he's the greatest president ever and he's done everything he ever wanted and people love him and everything about him and all this stuff? Wouldn't Democrats want you to forget about him entirely and not even think about him during the election? Because people might go, ooh, if there's MAGA Republicans running, they might do more of what Trump did. I should vote for them. It seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it, Ben?
Very obvious from the way that they are treating President Trump. It's why Joe Biden is giving a speech that is going to be directed almost specifically against President Trump.
No. It was, if you'll recall, these are better. Hold on one second. Hold on. I like these better. Nope. Let's see. That's not going to work. Literally, it's just exhausting. I'm just going to remove mine. Is that better? It's a little weird. It's relaxing, though, I will say. Man, let me talk to this feller. I like his little... It's funny that right before... The timing's not real good. Right before Dark Brandon did his Red MAGA gathering, Ben Shapiro changed his set to look almost identical. Coincidence? I think not. Do you even MAGA, bro? Why are you using the Dark Brandon... Dark Brandon's probably standing right behind that wall. Probably right behind that wall. He's giving off a red glow right behind you. This looks exactly like Freedom Hall, man. Get the fuck out of here. Look at that. Hold on. Let me bring up. Where's that picture? Let's see. Biden, red, Philadelphia. I don't know how you spell Philadelphia. There you go. There you go. Images. Where are you going? There you go. Hey, look at that. Tell me they ain't shopping at the same lighting store. Oh my God. Ben Shapiro is Team Dark Brandon. Fuck a doodle, man. I wouldn't trust him. MAGA. Run fast as you can. Ben Shapiro's tricking you. First of all, I've always been very suspect of him. Not only can he read, but he reads real fast. He sounds like an elite to me, if you know what I mean. And now he's got the Dark Brandon lighting in his fucking studio. I call Hinky.
But meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, a lot of people...
Jeez. The other side of the aisle? What are we, in a movie theater? Get me some popcorn.
People are looking and saying, wait a second.
Wait a second. Hang on. Stop. Hold it. Don't go any further. Wait a second. Hang on. What are they saying?
Do we believe the FBI when they say...
I think so. I mean, I have to say, like, 1962 FBI, I've got my questions under Hoover. But, like, you're asking me to put the hate on Clarice Starling, and I ain't going to do it. Here, I got a good idea, you dumb motherfucker. Instead of you and I debating, which I'd gladly do, how about we have an FBI Files watch party? All the episodes are on fucking Hulu or Discovery Plus, and we can just sit there and watch FBI guys running into doors, getting themselves shot up, chasing down murderers and criminals and child molesters and kidnappers and all that kind of stuff. And I'll sit there and go, man, they doing a good job. And you can sit there going, I don't believe it. I think that Bundy fella's lovely. How about that, dipshit? How about we do that? How about you and I sit there and watch we'll watch Blacklist together. And you can sit there and go, I think these people aren't really trying to catch criminals. I think they siding with criminals. Love Hannibal more than Clarice. He does. Fuck Hannibal, man. Look, just because he's got a nice set of pearly whites doesn't mean I ain't hating on him because he's able to eat human meat.
Say that this was...
You're damn right Ted Bundy was a Republican. That's the point I was making there, Antony. Thanks for pointing that out, man.
Such a vital national security interest that they had to raid Mar-a-Lago and indict the former president of the United States.
They didn't raid the place, man. They served a search warrant on it. Nobody came in on black ropes through the fucking skylights like it was the end of Christmas Vacation, you dumb motherfucker. They walked up and knocked. They didn't even bother people who was renting rooms at the fucking place. Somebody was there on their honeymoon, pumping and a-sweating, and they didn't even get, FBI, can we watch? They didn't get any of that shit.
A person who had plenary power as president of the United States to declassify anything while he was president of the United States.
Bullshit. There's a process, dumb fuck. He does not have plenary power to declassify. There's a process so people don't get fucking killed.
So originally,
Ben Shapiro didn't like Trump. In the middle of the presidency, he didn't like Trump then either. He doesn't like him now. But right now, he wants you to think he's an innocent victim. Because revenuers came knocking on his door in one of his 5 fucking rental properties he lives in, like some sort of Airbnb millionaire.
The sort of suspicion was, there's no way that the FBI and the DOJ are going to indict Donald Trump over...
Yeah, well, that was what Trump thought. Boy, was he wrong.
He's mishandling documents.
No, it's the mishandling part, man. He mishandles pussy. He steals documents.
Classified documents. That would be kind of wild.
It'd be crazy. Come on. Get wild up in here. Come on.
The former president of the United States, while he was president, had plenary power to declassify.
Yeah, but you got to do it. You got to do the paperwork. And he did the paperwork on some of it, but not on the rest of it. Fuck you. He can't steal shit.
Whether he made that claim or not, the simple fact is, when he was president of the United States, he could theoretically just wave his hand over the papers and say,
bullshit.
All of this stuff is declassified.
No, he couldn't. Because somebody'd have to be a witness to it. Because if he had a fucking heart attack in a room, some asshole, or he got poisoned by somebody who was placed in his inner circle, and they came out and went, by the way, as he was keeling over, he was in the process of saying, I declassify all this shit. So trust me, I'm Kash Patel. Fuck off with this nonsense. No, you can't.
And Trump has sort of sporadically made that defense of himself.
He makes sporadic defenses everywhere, dum-dum. That's his thing.
But beyond that...
What'd you get, spinach on your teeth? He sporadically did it. Every time I hear the word sporadically, I can feel the film growing across my molars and my incisors.
Yeah. The idea that...
What's left of them.
The thing that is going to bring down the chief political rival to the current president of the United States, is mishandling classified material, not any underlying traitorous behavior, not any underlying serious intent to do a damaging crime to the United States of America.
Boy, you sure are in a big fucking hurry to throw yourself under his ass as he's falling down, lips up.
Mishandling of classified documentation. A lot of people are looking at that, they're going, wait a second.
Wait a moment. Hang on. No, I wasn't. What was it? Why?
That seems highly political.
No, again, man, who gives a fuck when people go, that seems a little weird. I might want to look into the details. Holy fuck, that's a lot of classified information.
Because here's one thing we know.
Here's one thing we know. He was supposed to give the shit back. His representative signed a piece of paper saying that he's going to give the shit back, and he didn't give the shit back. Also, yeah, I think he shit on your back.
We know that the Justice Department and the FBI set an actual standard when it came to mishandling classified information. So let's assume for a second.
Yeah, that's their standard. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's just assume for a moment that what?
That all of Donald Trump's kind of supposed defenses are pretexts.
That they're lies.
Didn't actually declassify.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Any of these documents. That he did what they're accusing him of doing. That he actually brought home the classified documents, he stacked them in his closet, and then when the National Archives asked for them, he didn't turn them over. Let's just...
Yeah, that's so far, I'm with you.
Assume all of that is true. James Comey set an actual standard for what it would take to prosecute a public official for mishandling classified documentation. Because you will remember that Hillary Clinton was using her private email address for classified documents, and putting those things on an email address means that they're online.
No, doesn't mean. It was a private server connected to the Secretary of State. It was an intranet set up there.
And you'll recall that she then, when she was asked to turn over her servers, she actually erased the servers. She used a program called BleachBit to essentially get rid of all of the...
Yeah, they were given a copy of it, and then they got rid of the original so nobody else could get a hold of it. They have all the stuff that was on there, man.
Those emails. You'll also remember that many of those emails then popped up on an outside computer, Anthony Weiner's computer, along with whatever pornography he had been sending his lady...
No, it was Huma Abedin's computer. Anthony was using it.
Friends. So not exactly a wonderful storage of classified materials from Hillary Clinton. She claimed, of course, she didn't know declassification.
Again, lying because it was Huma Abedin's computer.
Protocols, or that these documents were classified. That was very likely to be untrue, considering she'd been in government for a very, very long time, and that she had been the Secretary of State.
All right, and how many of these in the documents recovered, including the ones they got back from Comey and the ones they got back from Hillary Clinton and the kind that were on there, how many of them were secure compartmentalized information? How many of them were top secret? How many of them were secret? How many of them were secure intel? How many of them were human intel? I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. None, you dumb motherfucker.
But James Comey decided, you know what? That's not the standard for prosecution. That may be the standard under the law. That's not the standard for prosecution. So he said a couple of things that are relevant to what's happening now with Donald Trump. Because if you're talking about the perception of a democracy working in the United States.
Yeah, that's the important thing. We're talking about perception. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about material reality. That's my bad. I totally misunderstood you. Please keep talking.
One of the elements of that is equal protection of the laws.
Equal protection under the law. Not of the law. We don't equally protect the laws themselves. Some laws suck and we actually try to get rid of them, and other laws anyways.
Equal application of the laws.
That's a little closer.
Non-selective prosecution when it comes to prosecuting high public officials and former presidents of the United States for mishandling classified documents.
Right. Yeah. Especially, and relating it to volume and the level of documents obviously creates a severity. Also, we do selectively prosecute stuff because we offer like plea deals and all kinds of shit to all kinds of people all the fucking time, man. Don't ask me how I know that. Hold on. Play something, dummy.
And none of this means that Donald Trump didn't handle the classified documents sloppily.
Yeah, you just don't give a fuck.
It does mean that apparently is not the criminal standard, according to James Comey.
No, dummy. Not all classified documents are created equal. These ones said top secret, secure, compartmentalized information, you dumb motherfucker. They ain't like, the president's going to be here on Wednesday, which is classified, But after Wednesday, it ain't classified no more. Still says classified because you might be able to read it and tell, how long ahead of time they plan shit and all that kind of stuff. But it sure as fuck ain't top secret.
James Comey said two things of
He said a lot of things.
relevance in this press conference where he announced that Hillary would not be prosecuted. This is back during summer of 2016. He said, one, there is a very high probability that America's enemies actually did gain control of many classified information secrets from Hillary Clinton's computer.
They didn't. That probability turned out not to be the case. 2 years on, they looked into it. You can't pretend time didn't pass, dumb fuck.
And two, that wasn't enough to indict her. Even that wasn't enough to indict her.
Right, because of probability. Because you'd have to show intent, and the Espionage Act shows intent. The problem with Trump is he hid these documents in other things, sneaking them out of the fucking White House. They were taken out of the boxes and taken to his fucking office and taken out of the folders and not put back in the folders, even in folders that said you're supposed to give this folder back when you're done with it. And that happened after his people signed a piece of paper saying none of this shit exists. You get it?
Here was James Comey at the time.
Looking back at our investigations into the mishandling or removal
He's a tall drink of water, by the way.
of classified information, we cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
Right, because there was no intent and no proof that it actually got out. It was a violation of policy. None of the stuff got in the wind. None of it showed up on the internet. DNC got hacked. Colin Powell got fucking hacked. David Petraeus got fucking hacked. The State Department itself got fucking hacked. You know what didn't get hacked? Hillary's fucking server.
All the cases prosecuted involved some combination of clearly intentional and willful mishandling of classified information.
Right, which we have in the Trump situation, obviously.
Or vast quantities of information exposed in such a way as to support an inference of intentional misconduct.
Right. Sounds like Mar-a-Lago, man.
Or indications of disloyalty to the United States.
Oh, it's still like hitting the fucking points, buddy.
Or efforts to obstruct justice. We do not...
Yeah, dude, there's files that are missing out of folders. Yeah, nailed it. Just take that hand, make a little point, and whoop, right up the keister, dude. I'm just telling you.
See those things here.
Yes. Oh, you look a little upset, fucko. Hey, man, listen here. This case in Mar-a-Lago satisfies all four of those fucking points, dummy. All four of them. Every single one.
Okay, so he just ignored, by the way, the quote-unquote efforts to obstruct justice. Among the things that he ignored there was Hillary Clinton bleach bidding her servers.
Yeah, but they turned over a copy of it, shitstick. They bleach bit the original so it couldn't get a win. So it could, because if you throw it out, if you're going to dispose of it, it's gone. And if you just, well, we're not going to, here's a copy of it, like you asked. They were still using it at the time. They sent an exact forensic copy while they were still using it. And then when they were all done with it, they smashed it up and fucked it off so nobody could reconstitute what was on it. They know better. To make sure none of that shit got in the wind, dummy. I got news for you. Don't believe me? Hey, man, I'm mostly on cars, motorcycles, and I'll tinker a bit, man. I'll tinker with your CNC like a motherfucker. Do me a favor. Take that laptop you got right there in front of you and hit it. Hit it real hard. Bang it on the edge of the desk just a couple times so the screen cracks, and then chuck it in the fucking garbage. See if I can't get every fucking thing off of it that's there. Let me tell you something, son. You're going to want to bleach bit every hard drive you have in your possession if you're not going to use it anymore. Even if it's fucking dead. You ever have a hard drive where it stops working and you're like, goddamn, that had all my Pornhub downloads on it. Oh, well, going to have to make another one. And you're like, well, let's see. I don't want anybody else to find that, hook it up to their laptop, right? And so don't just smash it, man. You got to pour some acid down that thing. You guys know shit about security? God damn. Look at him. Look at him. He got his eyebrows are going, huh? You hear me?
I mean, that seems like a pretty good effort to not turn over the evidence of what exactly you were storing on your computer. But
Yeah, dum-dum. It's so that what you were storing on the computer that you were currently using that you'd already given a copy of, that they never asked for the final copy of it. They didn't ask for her physical server after the fact. They asked for the file. So they gave a copy of the whole fucking thing over to them. They had it. And then the original one, when they were done, and anywhere where any of those files might have been, they fucked them up. So nobody else could get them. Dummy.
Apparently that wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't enough. Dude, there's a dude that flies with Putin and scoops his turds up.
And as I say, James Comey even went on to say that there was a good probability that a lot of the classified information Hillary Clinton was storing actually got out to, say, the Chinese or the Russians.
Yeah, just say the Chinese and Russians. He didn't say the Chinese and Russians, but they didn't, for the record. They did not. There's a Russian woman calling herself Anna Rothschilds that was hanging around Mar-a-Lago all last fucking year. Are you concerned that some of these files that were in Trump's fucking desk or in a box in his office, which I'm sure had a massively complicated lock on it, like a turlet, like an outhouse hinge?
We did not find direct evidence that Secretary Clinton's personal email domain, in its various configurations since 2009, was hacked successfully.
Right. We did find that a woman named Anna Rothschilds had been hanging around, bumming around Mar-a-Lago for a fucking year.
But given the nature of the system and of the actors potentially involved,
hey, some of my best friends are actors.
We assess we would be unlikely to see such direct evidence. We do assess that hostile actors gained access to the private commercial email accounts of people with whom Secretary Clinton was in regular contact from her personal account.
Right. They got Podesta, they got Colin Powell, they got David Petraeus.
We also assess
they didn't get her.
That Secretary Clinton's use of a personal email domain was both known by a large number of people and readily apparent. She also
it didn't help that you guys were yelling about it.
Used her personal email extensively while outside the United States, including sending and receiving work-related emails in the territory of sophisticated adversaries.
Yeah, but they had their own closed-loop internet that they used when she was traveling, because that's what the Secretary of State's office does.
Given that combination of factors,
remember,
we assess it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account.
That was not enough to indict her.
No, it wasn't. Because the Espionage Act had to show intent or wanton disregard. They showed none of those things. Even the classified stuff wasn't top secret or secret. This is fucking... Why are you fighting so hard to defend this motherfucker when it's open and fucking obvious that he has SCI documents in his fucking house that he never declassified?
Okay, now, what are the chances that somebody actually gained access to the classified information in Donald Trump's closet, under his mattress?
Under his mattress? The fuck you talking about, man? There's a cardboard box in his office. There was a woman... Jesus Christ, man. Let me tell you what. I'll tell you what there wasn't on Hillary Clinton's trips overseas. There wasn't a woman pretending to be a Rothschild hanging out at fucking Mar-a-Lago, coming and going from the fucking property. Yeah, there she is. Recognize that place? Anna de Rothschild never went on a flight with Hillary Clinton.
You think it's better or worse than Hillary Clinton exposing classified information on an email server? I mean, the answer is pretty obvious, but that was not enough to indict her.
Asshat. Of course not. You could show she didn't intend to hide this stuff. She intended to make sure it didn't get in the wind. Because it was digital. It wasn't paper copies. Motherfucker had paper copies. All right. We'll get back to Ficus or somebody else in a moment. We're going to finish up this video so that we can get on.
Again, the standard that has to be applied here, if you actually wish for people to have any sort of faith in the institution,
is to arrest Trump immediately and then charge Hillary Clinton with a non-jailable misdemeanor, because the extremity of his crimes is far outpaces anything she was even accused of.
Has to be even. So I'll go back and I will tell you again. Here was James Comey's statement. He said that all of the cases prosecuted.
God damn, this is such this is like a high school debate moment where like I'm gonna fall back on this and like this straw man idea that I made up for myself.
Prosecuted like this have to involve a combination of, okay, one of these factors is not enough. It has to involve a combination of clearly intentional and willfully mishandling of classified information.
Done.
Or vast quantities of material exposed in such a way as to support an inference of intentional misconduct.
Yes. Top secret documents smuggled out of the White House with no sign that they were declassified, in between personal effects, stuffed in magazines and in between framed pictures to be smuggled out of the White House. Even if they were not done by Trump himself, Kash Patel should go to fucking jail for this.
You were doing it because you intentionally wanted to expose this stuff.
Right. Basically having top secret document tours at Mar-a-Lago. You pay him enough money, he'll invite you as a guest, and he'll take you into the storage room, and you could spend a little time alone with the documents.
Or indications of disloyalty, right? None of these exist for
yes, they do.
President Trump.
Yes, they do. All of them exist. All of them. Just in the filings we've seen.
Even if you were to say that there was intentional and willful mishandling of classified information.
And I am.
That would not be enough, according to James Comey.
Right. Yeah. The fact that they were obscuring, like they were obfuscating and trying to keep the NARA people and the FBI and the DOJ from getting documents back. They kept stiff-arming them. They ultimately hid things. They lied about doing a due diligence search of the storage room. They had moved things out of the storage room before that and then moved things back in.
Or efforts to obstruct justice. And remember, it has to be beyond the kind of stuff that Hillary did. Because
it is.
You could easily say that under Hillary's behavioral standard, there was a combination.
No, because it was digital. She gave a full copy, forensic copy of the server itself, and then they destroyed the physical copy when they were done using it when her term ended.
Of any clearly intentional and willful mishandling of classified information and an effort to obstruct justice. But they didn't do it by Hillary.
That's because most of that stuff had to do with scheduling. And this stuff is top secret. None of this stuff was ever even alleged to be secured compartmental information. Beyond the fact that confidential does not mean the same thing across the board, and that they don't tend to declassify things except on a time scale most of the time. We're talking about secret, top secret, and SCI and SI intel.
Hey, so does this mean that Donald Trump acted in model fashion with regard to the classified documents?
Yeah, he wasn't perfect, guys, okay? He wasn't perfect. Why don't you, I mean, yeah, whatever, Mr. Perfect. Like, you don't know what it's like. He made a mistake.
No, but it does mean that when Americans think about the way that our democracy works, if the leading political contender for the presidency of the United States on the Democratic side of the aisle,
Ron DeSantis,
was exonerated by the FBI in 2016 for behavior that looks extraordinarily similar.
It doesn't look extraordinarily similar unless you remove a multitude of facts and shuffle things around and do a bunch of whataboutism.
The stuff that Donald Trump, the leading presidential candidate on the right side of the aisle, at least by polling data right now.
At least by polling data right now. You mean he's got 49%? Half of them would leave in a fucking heartbeat if he decides not to run. Yeah, he's the titular head of the party.
If that behavior looks the same, the Democrat gets exonerated, the Republican gets indicted.
Yeah, tell you what. Show me on the doll where the bad man touched you, but show me where Comey or anyone came out and said, we found files and these files were categorized secret, top secret, above top secret, SCI and SI. Show me.
A lot of people are going to start thinking, well, maybe our democratic system of government is not working particularly well.
Oh yeah, it's democracies that's the fucking problem. Our democratic system is not working very well. Fuck you. Democracy is at fault in this fucking situation. So Trump can, all we have to do to wreck democracy is let Trump get away with stealing documents. That if we even look at that, or not let him get away with it, if we look the other way, you know, then that, look, you can keep your democracy as long as you leave him alone. The fuck kind of standard is that? I thought they were the law and order party anyways. Shouldn't be like, look, you guys may not want to throw your criminals in jail, but we'll throw ours in jail. Of course, that never works out that way. It's the Democrats that get broomed immediately if they get busted for something, whereas Democrats have to be dragged kicking and screaming out of campaign offices for being busted for child sex trafficking.
And as it now looks like, all of the factors seem stacked in favor of the DOJ actually indicting Trump, which is going to bring things to a head pretty damn quickly here, which is why Merrick Garland really, just for the sake of the democracy, got to be incredibly careful. If you're going to bring a case like this, it better be bulletproof. You're going to have to demonstrate, not just.
Yeah, they know
that Donald Trump did the things you're accusing him of doing, but that they radically differ from the things that allowed Hillary Clinton to get away with it back in.
They do already. We know this. We've seen that case play out. Hold on. Trying to find the later on. See, here you go. Open this up on its own. Review of various actions by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice in advance of the 2016 election. This is about the response. Okay. Allegations that a department or FBI policies or procedure were not followed in connection with or actions leading up to related to the FBI Director James Comey's public announcement July 5th, 2016, and Comey's letters to Congress on October 28th and November 6th, 2016. Allegations that certain investigative decisions were based on improper considerations. Allegations that the FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe should have been recused from participating in certain investigative matters. Allegations Department that Assistant Attorney General for Legislative Affairs Peter Kadzik improperly disclosed non-public information and or should have been recused from participating in certain matters. Like, this is that whole thing. Executive summary of there we go. Ultimately, Kobe's statement, endgame, yada, yada, yada. We'll go down to, let's see, reporting on 2016 on the Wiener laptop, initial response, FBI headquarters, re-engagement of FBI. There should be a conclusion in there's text and text messages. Use of personal email. Let's see. This is the business. Methodology to conclusion. Where's the chapter 4, chapter 5? This is a big report. That's out. That was a summary on the whole thing. Get back down here, silly. Conclusions, 497 page report. Let's see. All right. Let me get this up here. 497. Let's look at the conclusion, shall we? There you go. And there you go. Kazakh jobs. Hold on. 497. Where's? Oh, I see. These are different pages. Beg your pardon. They are numbered differently than the. Back up. Conclusions and recommendations. The Clinton email investigation was one of the highest profile investigations in FBI's history. However, it is just one of thousands of investigations handled each year by the approximately 35,000 FBI agents, analysts, and other professionals who dedicate their careers to protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution and the rule of law. Through the collective efforts of generations of FBI employees, the FBI has developed and earned a reputation as one of the world's premier law enforcement agencies. The FBI has gained its reputation in significant part because of its professionalism, impartiality, and non-political enforcement of the law, and adherence to detailed policies, practices, and norms. However, as we outlined in this report, certain actions during the mid-year investigation were inconsistent with these long-standing policies, practices, and norms. First, we found that several FBI employees who played critical roles in the investigation sent political messages, some of which related directly to the mid-year investigation, that created the appearance of bias and thereby raised questions about the objectivity and thoroughness of the mid-year investigation. Even more serious, text messages between Strzok and Page pertaining to the Russian investigation, particularly a text message from Strzok on August 8th stating, no, he's not, we'll stop it. In response to a Page's text, Trump's never going to become president, right, are not only indicative of a biased state of mind, but imply a willingness to take official action to impact the presidential candidate's electoral prospects. This is antithetical to the core values of the FBI and the Department of Justice. While we did not find documentary or testimony evidence that improper considerations, including political bias, directly affected the specific investigations and actions we reviewed in Chapter 5, the conduct by these employees cast a cloud over the entire FBI investigation and sowed doubt about the FBI's work on and its handling of the mid-year investigation. Okay, hold on. Second, in key moments, then Director Comey chose to deviate from the FBI and department's established procedures and norms, and instead engaged in his own subjective, ad hoc decision-making. In doing so, we found that Comey largely based his decisions on what he believed was in the FBI's institutional interests and would enable him to continue to effectively lead the FBI as its director. While we did not find that these decisions were the result of political bias on Comey's part, we nevertheless concluded that by departing so clearly and dramatically from the FBI and department norms, the decision negatively impacted the perception of the FBI and department and the fair administration of justice. Yeah. None of this, more of this was about, I guess, this is the report on theirs, that it ultimately, because it didn't amount to anything. There was a 2018 report, hold on. 2018 Clinton server report. It describes Comey as yeah, okay, so that's the same one. Yeah.
In 2016.
That's the end of it. Okay. In 2016. Wholly different garbage. That, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ben Shapiro and a bunch of flailing bullshit. That said, let me see if I can one of the other stories, this is yeah, let me bring this up. So one of the other stories that came up, and I want to address this before tomorrow for the radio, because we'll have a lot to talk about on the radio show. The SPARKS radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT is tomorrow in the morning. And if that's the morning for you, it's morning for me, at 9 a.m. Pacific time for 2 hours with me and Johnny Million and a bunch of fun. And one of the stories that has been futzing around is the Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan's podcast saying the FBI warned them that they were going to be the target of disinfo, and part of that was going to be around the Hunter Biden laptop and to watch out. And everybody took that as they shut down that story on Facebook. The FBI ordered them to take it down. Now, if we look at one of the dumbest people that has a take on this, we'll ultimately find the mess, D'Souza. Evidence is now clear that FBI suppressed the Hunter Biden story to help Biden win in 2020. Now, let's be abundantly clear. There is no Hunter Biden laptop, and all of John Paul McIsaac's story has fallen to shit. Anything that, pictures of him that were stolen from his phone from Hunter Biden that were put on this thing as, just to dirty him up and make him look scummy because he was smoking in a fucking tub, or he's taking a funny picture in his underwear and blah, 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 or any idea that, these cut videos of him showing his face and then it goes to crack as if there's not an edit there that everybody can see, blah, blah, blah. Let's just understand that never mind the fact that it's all a bunch of chicanery and fakery and deep fakes mixed with real stuff to try and create this like gummed up, this tar to hold Biden down in this, is that it took months for some people, not yours truly, but other people to figure out that this was complete horseshit, that the laptop never existed, that there were files added to it afterwards. The Washington Post story, which was supposed to have verified it all that they all talk about, never ever, found that the laptop ever really existed. And their own experts were like, this is garbage. We don't even know where there are files that were added after the hard drive was made by some of the people. They started categorizing files within it in file folders. And things were copied onto it. There's no way, if you ever tried to try Hunter Biden using the laptop, it would get thrown out, and anything related to it would be thrown out because of fruit of the poison tree. So this is not difficult. This is pretty standard. Anybody who still believes the Hunter Biden laptop existence story is a moron. But the story is that because they were warned about this Russian disinfo thing that was coming, that this is proof somehow that the FBI suppressed this story. And I want to hear this dipshit sum it up.
Development.
Oh, it's interesting. Hold on, that's very loud. to me, anyways.
At the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, whose
that's what it stands for.
implications are not entirely clear yet, but
oh, don't let that stop you from getting way out over your skis and betting the farm on some bullshit.
A senior FBI agent, this is a guy named Tim Tybalt,
who retired, and when anybody retires, they walk you out of the building.
Hibault. Tim Tybalt has been escorted out of FBI headquarters.
Which is standard operating procedure when you retire.
And
he retired.
Apparently is being either removed, fired, maybe asked to resign, or maybe submitted his own resignation. I mean, there's a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? Just assume all of them, except it was time.
Of a shading as to which of those options it is, but what is not.
There are some who call me Tim.
Being shaded is that this guy is out of the FBI building. This was, by the way, the story was broken by the reporter John Solomon.
Yeah, the reporter John Solomon, the same guy who works with Trump and posted that letter from the National Archives that makes Trump look like even more of a thief.
And then picked up and further reported by many others, including the Washington Times.
Yeah, picked up by other right-wing outlets.
And evidently, this guy, Tim Tybalt, is the guy who suppressed the Hunter Biden story.
Yeah, individually. All it took was one guy to suppress the Hunter Biden story. While Trump was president and his own head guy at the, he'd handpick people at the DOJ, handpick people at the FBI. One guy. Where is his asshole partner?
Now, he didn't suppress it all by himself, but he
would have had to.
He was one of the key figures in blocking the Hunter Biden story from getting out prior to the 2020 election. So,
how did he do that? How did one person stop people from reporting on something if they wanted to in the United States of America?
Let's think about that.
Yes, I'm thinking about it, and I'm seeing a giant black hole in space.
This is the FBI actively involved in election interference.
No, you are alleging that this happened. I want to know how he did it. How did he do it? In the United States of America, how did this man stop that story from going anywhere?
And in suppressing damaging information against Biden.
Okay, alleged damaging information against Biden. I don't buy it anyways. Everybody knows his son had problems. If Mike Pillow and his history don't bother you, I don't know why the fuck Hunter Biden's would.
Now, there are several elements to this story. We know recently.
Yes, there's two main ones, bull and shit. What other ones do you have?
Mark Zuckerberg, by the way.
On Joe Rogan's podcast, saying that they warned him that he was going to be the target of disinfo.
The founder of Facebook, now called Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, went on Joe Rogan's show, and he said it was the FBI that pressured Facebook not to highlight the Hunter Biden story, to downplay it, to repress it. And Zuckerberg says, we didn't shut it down completely, but we did give it less traction. We did sort of pull it back.
Yeah, we just gave it less traction than it would have gotten organically, and we didn't let people buy giant ads around it from using foreign fucking country, but foreign fucking currency. Hold on. For the record, yeah, these were all ads that the Russians purchased with rubles during the 2016 election. They started a page called Woke Blacks. The Russians started a page and promoted it during the 2016 election cycle called Woke Blacks. And then back the badge, and then like and share if you want burqa banned in America, stop all invaders. Yeah, they just, there you go. You mean, so you're talking about the guy who ran the site that allowed people to buy political ads about the candidates in an American election in rubles.
And think about it. It's the FBI. The FBI, the supposedly neutral police agency of the government that is now working with these social media platforms
to protect them from posting fabricated intel being pushed by foreign governments.
Not to fight misinformation.
Yes, disinformation.
But to fight...
Misinformation is the ignorant part. This was on purpose.
Accurate information that would have be damaging to the Democrats. So the
No, not accurate information. Not. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. I stand by it still. Feel free to at me.
FBI seems to be now a little bit like the KGB.
Yes, that's what it is. The FBI is basically the KGB. There you go. And you should treat them accordingly, I suppose, Dinesh.
Kind of a fully owned police arm of the Democratic Party.
Wait, the Democratic Party runs the KGB? Maybe we could take out Putin.
Now, this fellow Tybalt was apparently posting all kinds of political statements against Trump and against the Republicans while he was leading the public corruption unit of the FBI.
It's almost like he was getting a look at evidence that they couldn't yet use that was making him a little crazy.
He's also apparently a guy who was telling other...
Hold on, my screen went dark for a second there. There you go.
FBI agents, don't open the Hunter Biden laptop. Let's remember that...
I'm sorry, what Hunter Biden laptop?
The FBI had the Hunter Biden laptop.
No, they didn't. They do not.
And has had it for a while.
No, they don't.
So long before...
They have a hard drive copy.
Reporting
of the same one that's being shopped around.
Came out from Miranda Devine and others. What's on the laptop?
There's nothing on the laptop. There is no laptop.
The FBI had it. They could have
No, they didn't.
Gone through it. They could have set up a whole operation because there's a lot of data on the laptop.
No, there's more data on the hard drive than the laptop could even hold. It's really cool. It's a great trick.
But this fellow Tybalt, perhaps among others, put out the word as senior FBI agents. This is not something we really want to go into right now. And
well, they do have that policy to not go into this shit 60 days before an election. And it's interesting that laptop magically shows up 60 days before the election, even though they had allegedly had it for the better part of a year.
At the very least, they wanted to push any investigation of the laptop post the 2020 election.
Right. Because it was a politically charged thing, and even looking into it would give one candidate or the other a head. Oh, never mind.
It also seems, this I'm getting from John Sullivan,
Solomon,
that FBI whistleblowers...
That doesn't matter. Nobody cares what his name is.
...have told both Jim Jordan and Chuck Grassley.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Yeah. FBI whistleblowers. You got it. So the FBI whistleblowers told you that the FBI can't be trusted? That's what they said? John M. Whistleblower.
So Jim Jordan in the House and Chuck Grassley in the Senate, that this Tybalt fellow concealed the partisan nature of the evidence that he was putting forward to Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland to open their investigation into Trump. So he was, in other words, he's pushing partisan. This is very reminiscent, by the way, of the Steele dossier.
What do you mean? He either had those documents or he fucking didn't. What?
Well, in the case of the Steele dossier, as you know, this was funded, bankrolled, really set up by the Clinton campaign.
No, by Fusion GPS, because the Washington Free Beacon was looking for compromise on Donald Trump because they wanted Jeb Bush or one of the other Republicans to win. And then when it turned out he was going to win, they just decided to fold in behind him like the cowards that they are. And Fusion GPS sold it to the Clinton campaign, who thought it was gross and didn't use it.
The FBI was in on it. They then used this fake dossier to open an investigation. So here
nonsense
is Tybalt again using partisan talking points, if you will, to push for an investigation.
Well, if there's no evidence, where's the investigation going to go? What is he pushing for with partisan language? Pushing for a dead end?
Some question about whether there's even bogus information that was used to justify the Mar-a-Lago raid. I'm going to talk about the raid in the next segment.
There was no raid at Mar-a-Lago. It was just a search.
But there is
Mar-a-Lago was not raided.
John Solomon is...
There is no laptop, and Mar-a-Lago was not raided. Feel free to at me.
Reporting that in the documents that were submitted to the court...
How can you make such political intrigue this fucking boring? How's it possible? How am I bored? This is like the most important laptop in the history of the world that, could have thrown an election to the other direction, and intrigue in the FBI and partisanship and inside baseball networking amongst the Department of Justice. And it's a fucking yawn.
Justify the Mar-a-Lago raid. There was a CBS Miami article called "Moving Trucks Spotted at Mar-a-Lago." So think about this. This is a local CBS station spotting moving trucks. They don't know what's in the moving trucks. They just see moving trucks. And the FBI goes, "Oh, Judge, you need to give us a warrant to raid Mar-a-Lago because who knows what's in those moving trucks?" As if to say that Mar-a-Lago, a huge operation that conducts golfing events.
A huge operation that conducts golfing events. I thought this was his home. Didn't they invade the sanctity of his home? Everyone describes their home as a giant program that hosts golfing events.
Can't have moving trucks at Mar-a-Lago without the FBI thinking that this is probable cause. Probable cause for what?
A search and a seizure. And it turned out to be a fruitful search, dum-dum.
So we're beginning to see here how bogus this operation is and how...
No, we're not. Nothing you have said it entails us thinking anything of the kind. Who the shit thinks this from what you just said? For fuck's sake, man.
How thin the FBI's justification is for doing...
How thin? They have 60 days of footage from the security system. That's why they got the search warrant. That's what made it an emergency. They gave him a subpoena in May. He pushed it off till June. They lied when they said they didn't have any more classified top secret documents. And they did.
The raid, but more importantly, the election interference, I think, is a very serious matter. Now, there are several Republican senators who have now demanded of the FBI, we need the names of all the FBI agents who...
So we can send maggots to kill them? So we can dox them?
Were instructing other agents, but also instructing Facebook, that somehow the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation.
Oh, they didn't have to hear it from them. I told them that. I'm telling you that now. It's still true. Doesn't exist. John Paul McIsaac was lying, couldn't pick Hunter Biden out of a lineup, didn't know which FBI agency handed it to, wouldn't take it to the local FBI guys, had to call his dad in upstate New York, said he feared for his life, ultimately lied to those FBI agents. If he did ever meet a real FBI agent, he lied to them because they said, give us everything you've got. And he kept a copy of the hard drive for himself, and then he gave it to Rudy Giuliani's attorney because he didn't trust the system while Trump was president. Get fucked.
And let's remember, this wasn't just a couple of FBI agents. You remember the 50 so-called intelligence officials, very prominent names, head of the CIA and so on. All these guys affirming, even though they're in a position to know better, that
no, they knew this was Russian disinfo.
The Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation.
It was.
They were basically lying.
No, you're lying. Show me a picture of the Hunter Biden laptop. Put it up on screen or shut the fuck up.
And lying all of...
It's 2022. You have pictures of your lunch on your phone. Show me a picture of the Hunter Biden laptop. You've met John Paul McIsaac. You hang out with Rudy Giuliani. You know his attorney. You've talked to McCarthy. Everybody involved in this. Miranda Devine, the woman who wrote the book. You met all of them. None of them have a fucking picture of the laptop. Not a one. Where is it? In 2022. It's been 2 fucking years, the most important laptop in the history of politics, and you don't have a fucking, you've never even seen it.
The lying.
You know what I have seen? I've seen a picture of top secret documents at Mar-a-Lago. Secure, compartmentalized information, intel that should not be out of secure environments, in a fucking cardboard box in a rental property that is owned by a bank and controlled by Trump.
Is for the same purpose. All of the lying is to make sure that Trump doesn't get elected. Trump, by the way, is not surprisingly all over this.
Yeah, he's all over this like a fish delight.
He put out a statement.
A statement.
So now it comes out conclusively that the FBI buried the Hunter Biden laptop story before.
Again, I would like to remind everyone, there's a reason why they say, when they're talking about the FBI, conclusively they buried the Hunter Biden laptop story. He'll sometimes ask for Hillary Clinton's server or the DNC server. You've heard him do it. Where is the server? Where's the server? Where is it? Up to this point, he's not said, where's the laptop? Where is it? Yeah, Trump does not own Mar-a-Lago. It's owned by the bank. He keeps saying, buried the Hunter Biden laptop story, because they know it's fiction.
For the election, all caps. And he goes,
all caps, what a shock.
Goes on to say, this is massive fraud and election interference at a level never before seen in our country. And I think this is a case where it's hard to disagree.
No, it isn't. It's actually really easy. Fuck you. Again, debate me. Anybody, reach out. Reach out to me on Twitter. Any of these fuckers who are backing up the Hunter Biden laptop story. I'll go note for note. We'll go through the Eric Bolling interview that John Paul McIsaac gave. We'll go through like the excerpts of his book he's put out. We'll go through the changing story that Rudy Giuliani put out. And we'll go to who, and and you guys know these fuckers. Some of these people like Dinesh, they know these fuckers who put these files on the hard drive after they got it from John Paul McIsaac. And where did they get it? And how come this thing showed up after Rudy's trip to Ukraine to meet with Russians? Bring it. Anybody. It's kind of like arguing that Trump is somehow a master orator. He might have had some sort of magical power over his followers at some point, but now he just talks shit and randomly like whines about bullshit. He's half the man he used to be, and he drones on and on and on. It's silly. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of having to argue this point. Nobody has the guts to come at me with it. Every so often, one rando maggot will go, oh, what are you even saying? And then I send them off to go find it or read the details. Read the early story about where it really came from. That it was at Charles Ablow's house, or is it Keith Blow? What the fuck was that guy's name? It drives me crazy. Charles Ablow, Fox, psychiatrist. Let's see, yeah. Yeah. Keith Ablow, thanks, sorry. I keep fucking that. Keith Ablow, this guy, was a popular fixture on the cable channel until 2017 and a high-profile therapist. He left a trail of vulnerable female patients who claim he abused them. By the way, Keith Ablow, hold on one second. Keith Ablow, Hunter Biden, whoops. Here we go. New spin to Hunter Biden's Feds report. Here you go. This is the everybody's like, this is before it. So this is before the other laptop. Feds reportedly seized second Hunter Biden laptop in February. A second laptop, crazy, just leaves them everywhere, was taken by the feds back in February. The computer was found in the Massachusetts office of celebrity psychiatrist Dr. Keith Abloh during a raid and seized by drug enforcement agents. This guy worked at Fox, by the way. No surprise. Abloh's medical license was suspended after he was accused of sexually exploiting patients and other professional misconduct. He has not been charged with the crime and has denied allegations. Hunter Biden has not been the target of the search or the investigation. His lawyer ultimately got the laptop back. The network reported it's unclear what was on the machine and why it would have been at Abloh's offices. Weird. It's because the Trump camp and all those folks had gotten hold of it and were trying to set it up that he went to him for treatment and left it there. Bullshit. Doobity-doo. Let's see. That's the, and there originally that's from the alternate story. Back up. What are you doing? Okay, here we go. It's to the left. Goodreads, Hunter Biden's gun crazy. Yeah, Keith. Hunter Biden's second laptop found in OPI, Delaware. There you go. Photo later. This is, by the way, occasionally this will show up where people are like, here's a picture of Hunter Biden's laptop. This is Hunter Biden's laptop. Hunter Biden's legal and investigative operation has been conducting forensic tests on a MacBook Pro. The president's son lost track of in 2019, providing CBS News with what it says is the first public photo of that once missing laptop. It's not the one that, none of these, this isn't one that went missing at, or was, he left at fucking, at Mac Isaac's shop. Probing the backstory of how another letter containing what appear to be years of personal intimate emails and business records found its way into news reporters and authorities. The effort appears federal allegation into his tax records business by sowing doubts about that computer, which made headlines in 2020. A source from Hunter Biden's team of advisors told CBS News the laptop now in their possession may be the key to determining if anything was altered or added to that second laptop discovered at the Delaware repair shop. So this is, they stole this one, added fake shit and concocted things and modified stuff that was on it, and then started the whole plot to drop off a different one with this guy that was, limited and you could only get certain files off of it. Several news outlets, including New York Times and the Post, have reported in recent months that they have authenticated some of the files and correspondence contained on the laptop that made news in 2020. No, they haven't. I've already gone through this. If anybody wants to go back and watch it, it is all stunning bullshit. Every single paragraph. And at no time, this is my favorite thing, 2 experts confirmed the veracity of thousands of emails, which, by the way, were all like Bed Bath & Beyond coupons, but say thorough investigation was stymied by missing data. Now, just real quick. Verifiable emails are a small fraction of the 217 gigabytes of the 416 that are apparently now on the hard drive, provided the Post on a portable hard drive by Republican activist Jack Maxey. The Washington Post says laptop. They have never touched a laptop. I went through this bullshit once before. It's all garbage. Feel free to at me. You guys are wonderful. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go rest my voice. I love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show. I am literally the only person saying some of these things. Well, that's not true. I say them first, and then everybody eventually says them. I will say that. I try. Anyways, bless you guys. And I will see you guys, but our emails, but the laptop, but our emails, but the laptop. Anyways, you guys are wonderful. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for the support. Give it a like or a thumbs up on your way out. It really helps the show. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the show, pass it around, let people know I'm here, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye-bye. If I can send you guys over to Rick. Air raid.